shield everything back.
Nice juke. Just kidding. I lied. Hello everyone, my name is SwingPoynt and welcome to Resident Evil Resistance. This is the multiplayer game bundled with Resident Evil 3. And today I got a new one for you. I'm gonna call him Stealer Dealer Dan. And what I love about this build is that the idea of a Dealer Dan has been around since pretty much day one. As soon as people figured out you could run endurance on Daniel, they figured out that you could run dealers on Dan. But what I think is so cool about it, again, is how it's become better over time. And there's a lot of different factors that have helped make it better over time. And I'll go into that with you, and I'll talk a little bit about the math and why we do what we do, and how equipment affects this, and how a survivor equipment affects the efficacy of this. There's going to be a lot of stuff we talk about in this episode, so stay tuned. We're going to learn a lot here. But let's go ahead, click into Daniel here, and we're going to go over the skills, the equipment, and then also the deck. And then we're going to go ahead and show you what it looks like in a match, so you can kind of see what it looks like in practice. So let's get started here, and then these topics will come up naturally as we begin. So let's start from the top down. We're going to do brutality on the Tyrant because I like punching real fast and I like having stronger punches, especially since they buffed Mr. X's speed at which he can start doing actions. They did that, what, last patch, 2 patches ago? Where when he drops down, he starts punching way faster than he ever did before, and that makes this way more interesting. And then here's where things get really interesting, and really where the whole idea of Stealer Dealer Dan becomes a possibility. If you look at the first passive here, we've always had options, Vampire, Rend, and Frenzy. But now, there's a new one that came with the September update, and it's called Unnatural Selection. And what it does is it increases the range of Detonator Self-Destruct and the Jester Screech, which we tested those out on stream on twitch.tv/SwingPoynt, and it's pretty interesting how much farther those things reach. But that's not what we're talking about today. If you read the last sentence here, the last part of the sentence, it says it makes the dealer's Claw Slash steal more umbrella credits. So in case you're not aware, you haven't gotten with the program yet, when you use a dealer, this little creature right here, it's got 3 different attacks. It's got a slash, it's got a bite, and then it's got this thing called the Claw Slash. And the Claw Slash is where it's like, and then it like jumps on you and like mounts to you and then starts swiping at you. And each one of those swipes removes credits from the survivors. In the past, it would be 10 credits per swipe. So they do 4 swipes total, and then they do their little finishing bite. But the swipes are the only ones that count. So 10 credits per swipe for a total of 40 credits. Now, we went ahead and tested out this new Unnatural Selection perk with you guys in stream. And what you guys were telling me, based off of me testing the Claw Slash on you guys, is that number is no longer 10, but it turns into a 25 when you're running Unnatural Selection. So that means that every single dealer that you manage to get 4 swipes off on a survivor is draining 100 of their credits. 40 you can kind of scoff at. 100's a lot. Especially since the way that we're going to make this build, it's going to not only drain their economy, it's going to force them to react to other things with your economy, and your dealers themselves are going to be pretty strong and hard to deal with. Okay? Going to be a lot of good things coming out of this, but let's keep working here. For the third skill here, we're going to pick Endurance. You have to pick Endurance. There isn't any other option. Now for the first Area 2 skill here, we're going to run Overclock. You might think, well, it's a dealer build. Why wouldn't you run dealer region? Because economy. Overclock allows you to run basically infinite energy Dan. This is basically infinite energy Dan with a little bit of a change in how you strategize your movements. So we're going to run Overclock to keep our economy flowing real fast to make it so we never run out of stuff. Now onto his Area 3 skill here, we're going to have Caltrops. Reason being is that I think Armored Zombie would kind of break your economy a little bit, a little too expensive. And then you don't want to have a mod in there that would break your hand. And then Caltrops, you can create a lot of really good opportunities with that. Ways that I would use Caltrops in Area 3, if they're by a core, place it on the core and then drop Mr. X on them. They have a choice. They're either going to run and get hit by the Caltrops, or they're going to get smashed by Mr. X. And you can put Caltrops pretty much anywhere where it's going to be like a pinching point, or, you know, an area that they have to cross through. And if your dealers are really threatening, that'll make them want to run too, because the dealers are freaking charging at them. And then if they're sitting in the middle of the Caltrops, what are they going to do? They're either going to get bit, or they're going to have to run through the Caltrops and take a lot of damage. And your dealers are only going to get stronger as the game goes on, which is awesome, because they have their base health in area 1, then it goes up by 20% in area 2, and then by area 3 it's up by 50%. So you're only going to get stronger, and the survivors, they kind of cap out in strength at area 2, right? Because they get most of their weapons unless they're into the lightning hawk. But by area 2, that's about as strong as they're going to get typically. So you're going to get better, and they're not going to get any better, which is going to really play to your favor. Okay, future SwingPoynt here, and I'm going to redo this equipment section because I talked about it for way too long, didn't like how it came out, so I want to explain this and make it shorter. The whole point of this equipment was to make it so your dealers are really strong when they are controlled. When creatures are controlled, they take 50% less damage. So my goal was to go ahead and make it so that they have a high effective HP number, meaning that they'll have to do, you know, X amount of damage economy-wise to take down your dealer. So that's why we went ahead and made it so we were using Fortifying Virus. Now let's talk about why we're switching things around here, okay? So Resilient Skin 3 increases your creature HP by 21%. Resilient Skin 2 does it by 15. Resilient Skin 1 does it by 9. Now these Fortifying Viruses, they also do a percentage of increase on an effect. So again, when you control a creature, that creature's taking 50% less damage. Now when you have Fortifying Virus 3 on, you take that 50% and you improve it by 15%. And then for Fortifying Virus 2, you take that and improve it by 10%. So when you math that out, what's 15% to 50? Well, that's going to be 7.5%. So when we start dividing things and yada, 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 usually what we could do to get the effective HP is you would take the basic HP number of a creature, and for dealers, it's around 1170. So you take 1170, multiply it by 1.21, cool, and then you divide it by 0.5, and that's the effective HP, right? But now since we went ahead and added these Fortifying Viruses in, and you factor that all in, instead what you would do is you would divide it by 0.375. And that ending number that you would get on these dealers would be 3,775 per dealer, okay? So now we're gonna switch it up because I feel like we can make some compromises that pretty much get us to the same place with a much better result. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch out Bioenergy Tank 2 to 1. We're gonna lose 2 max bioenergy, but I think that's something we can sacrifice. So instead of a max of 16, we're gonna have a max of 14. And frankly, if you wanna run Fresh Blood instead, you go right ahead. But I'm gonna do Biotank here because I like having that little bit of extra fluff in case something goes wrong with my overclocking. Now, let's get into these numbers here. We're gonna flip this bad boy on over to Resilient Skin 2. And then we're gonna flip this on over to Resilient Skin 3. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna go through all the math again for you, but at the end of the day, what ends up happening is instead of your dealers having 3,775 effective HP, they end up having around 3,740 HP. So you lose like 30 HP. And when you factor in how, that's less than 1% of a loss on your dealers, but meanwhile, every other creature that's not being controlled is benefiting from a 15% increase on their health, I feel like the overall draining economy effect is going to be more beneficial to run Resilient Skin 2. Because you're not giving up a lot on your dealers, but you're giving a lot to everyone else. Okay? There. Went and redid that. I feel much better. If you want to do the math, it's going to be 1170 times 1.36 because of these two. And then you're going to divide it by 0.425. Ta-da! That's how you get your number. Okay. Now on to what I had recorded earlier when we talk about the deck. So this deck serves one purpose pretty much, and it's to get a bunch of dealers out. And the way it's going to function is it's going to function like an infinite energy Daniel. We're running Overclock, and then we're running our Shuffle Mod and Clone. That's like the 3 pieces you need in order to make it so that you can have an infinite energy Daniel. He's never going to run out of bioenergy as long as you play your cards right, literally. Everything else in this deck is to go ahead and either put you in a better position to attack, aka Lockdown Trap, help out your economy, aka Energy Leech, or drain the economy of the survivors by getting in their way or, you know, maybe getting a bite in every once in a while if they're feeling up to it. So these 3 creatures are going to exist purely to go ahead and just be in the way. If they feed a little bit of time, who cares? It's not about the time. You're going to beat them up on time because you're going to be jumping on them all the time with Claw Slash. It's about making them spend economy. So you're going to have creatures that have 36% more HP, and they're going to be roaming around the map, and you can put them in a place where they have to be paid attention to. And then you're going to have your really strong dealers running about that you're going to control. You're going to jump on top of the survivors, and every time you jump on them, you have potential to take off 25 seconds off the clock because it goes slash. slash, slash, slash. That's 5 seconds apiece. And then the final bite is another 5 seconds. So that's 25 seconds you're going to take off per dealer. And if they kill your dealer, well, they get 10 seconds back. So you have a net gain of 15 seconds. Now, if they beat up your dealer right away and you only get 2 slashes off, well, at the end of the day, they're still gaining nothing and they're spending resources on it. And with the way that this is built out, you're going to get 2 slashes in almost every single time, unless they have the most ridiculous damage build in the whole dang world. Other things, you're going to have discount in here just to make things cheaper, because why not? Clone, you use it with overclock, but if you're fine on bioenergy, you can also use it to get another dealer out. Dealers are the focal point of your build. They're going to be so strong and hard to deal with that you can run through anything, get shot by basically anything, and you're going to be successful with them. But on top of that, again, this is an economy build, right? The whole idea is that you're making them waste economy on creatures. You are literally stealing their economy away from them by jumping on them and stealing 100 credits per dealer from them. Then on top of that, we're going to have this right here. Converter mod creatures. Reason why this is really important is because IVs only die one way. They only die from fire. And how do you get fire? You either have to buy a torch or you have to buy Molotovs. You don't just get fire ever, unless you get it from a flamethrower and a supply zombie. But those are not that common. You don't have to sit here and be worried about them. So they have to either buy a torch or they have to buy Molotovs. Molotovs cost 100 and torches cost 120. And let me tell you, torches don't last very long unless Pyrone's using them. So then they got to think about buying repair kits, or at least finding them. So by putting another element of the game in there that they have to deal with, they're going to have to make even more choices that are difficult with their already drained economy. They're like, oh my god, I have like nothing left going into area 2, going into area 3, and now I need to buy a torch, otherwise I'm going to get eaten by these ivies that are spawning everywhere. This is kind of like the cherry on the top of the cake here that really puts them in a position where they're gassed. They have nothing. They can't do anything. And what you'll notice often with this build is it kind of counters the shotgun meta. You guys are going to love that, right? So one thing that kind of happens with the shotgun meta is that, especially if they don't get a shotgun early in area 1, buying the shotgun in area 2 tends to really take a hit on your economy for a little bit, and then you tend to recover over time, because that's just how the survivors are. But with this build, they don't get to do that, because you're always stealing from them. The way you're going to play this is you're going to get so many swipes off on these survivors, they're going to be like, well, I either have to not buy ammo, or I can't buy the shotgun, or I can't buy herbs, or I can't buy grenades. When we play this, what I notice is there's way less shotguns and there's way less flashbangs, which is great when you're playing Daniel. This build, you don't feel the immediate effects of it right away. Like, you're jumping on them and that's cool, but you'll notice big, overwhelming total match changes by being able to take them out easier, by being flashbanged less, by dealing with less shotguns. And since you're dealing with less shotgun, you're taking less damage, which means you can get more swipes off, so it starts snowballing. Dealer Dan's been around forever, but he's never been this good, and he's never been this effective. So it's awesome that he really, really has a good place right now. So now let's talk about countering this build. This is pretty hard to counter because it can snowball on the survivors really quick. But the ways I would try to counter this as a survivor are these things. You would either try to make it so your economy can deal. And you can talk about Lucky Charms, you can talk about decoders. We'll get into that. But let's talk about the other counters here. Martin would also be another good one with his quick flashbangs that he can do. Another way to deal with this is have people group together, but still be aware of their surroundings because you don't want to get jumped. But if you group together and everybody swarms on the dealer as soon as it jumps on someone, well, then you have your best shot at removing it before it goes ahead and causes too much damage to that person's economy. It's like a leech. You gotta rip the leech off before it sucks too much blood. And then really the way you're gonna have to counter this is gonna have to be a part of any countering strategy you do against this, is you gotta be shifty. You gotta know how to dodge, because frankly, these dealers are gonna be so strong and the economy of your team is gonna start getting drained so hard that unless you can dodge a couple of those dealers and take them out for free, you're gonna lose. You gotta be able to, like, you know, break their ankles a little bit, give them the old 1-2 and make them just flop on the ground, and hopefully the mastermind you're going against sucks at using dealers, but you gotta be able to dodge. We could talk about Tyrone's kick, but you'd have to be really good with Tyrone's kick in order to make sure that you kick it right at the right time. Frankly, I feel like Tyrone's kick is going to be more of a hindrance because it's going to put you in a position where you think you're going to get a kick in and then you don't, and then you're in trouble. So again, what I would do is you can either buff up your economy You can try to dodge them, and you can try to stick together and save anybody who's getting bit. So now let's get into a match here. I know I've been talking a bunch, but I hope I've been teaching you guys a bunch of things. I don't know how long the match is going to be because the build kind of stomps and you usually take people out pretty quickly. But something to keep in mind if you're running this Dan is it will benefit more if you make a dealer preset. I did not do that when I was doing this. If you want to, though, it'll make this a gabillion times better because you'll just have dealers everywhere and it makes it really easy to go ahead and get started on them. So if you want to make a dealer preset, go right ahead. It'll be even more awesome. Personally, I think I was running infectious zombies in my presets because I like that for Alex. So I just used that because I didn't feel like making 7 more presets. Okay, so with all that, without further introduction, here's the match that we did on twitch.tv/SwingPoynt. Who we draining, chat? Who's losing the main vein? Drain Martin. Man, y'all gotta... I feel that hatred towards Martin. Drain Martin. Everybody kill Martin. Well, like, it's Martin's ult that's scary. It's not his weapon. We had Germ as MM yesterday. Drain him. Drain him.
Bonjour, mon ami. The wheels of fate led you to us.
Drain him.
Today, no?
Oh, fucking
Let
K,
us see
Jan.
if you will walk away.
Somebody's running malware like an ass.
Hacking.
You can tell that was obvious malware.
You found that lock, but where is the key?
She's just gonna do that like all game.
I call this one. This really is not a very efficient way of ending your life. But
Drainer!
others are others.
Did you hear that cough? Jeez, Becca.
He feels no pain. Perfect machine for this.
You are so kind.
This'll teach him to make jokes about my team.
That could be a key.
Bitches!
More fun and cool friends sometimes.
Sup,
it's
Chili
easier
Willy Bear?
just to do things yourself. You understand?
I'll eat you.
If that was something
I would have
you
hopped
needed,
on stupid little
you think I would
Jan.
tell you? This one I call.
Oh, the clone works on the
machine.
Ivy mod. Cool.
It stinks, no?
Taking out this camera.
Hey, pisshead. Get off my camera.
Holy fuck, that was close.
Sorry, Jill.
Close call. Thank you. Empty. I don't like being watched. Doing it.
Go get him, Ivy.
If you live, I shall enter you in tortoise races. But I do not hold much hope of your success there either.
Somebody's getting eaten right there.
It feels no pain. The perfect machine for this endeavor.
What are you out of, Jan? Oh my god, you know how much I love beating the f out of Jan?
Let's go.
It's because I'm a Jan player. Gonna eat somebody on the stairs. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa! I didn't even have to guess. I just knew they were there. Didn't have to look, I should say.
Okay, you found it.
You're so clever, Jan. Look at you. Hey, you're so clever, Jan. gonna eat this bitch.
This really is not a very efficient way of ending your life. But orders are orders.
God, I wish I was eating someone right there. Wait till you have nothing! I hope they have nothing.
I was told, give Alex whatever she needs.
Blah, blah, blah,
You
blah,
are
blah.
under no obligation. Keep fighting me if you wish. It makes no difference.
Oh no, Jan got me.
Interesting. May ineffective in the long run.
But your Jan just came.
This is some dead person. I do not recognize them.
Bet you I just came. I tried Spencer's generator. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay. So you're sucking on your legs.
Thanks for the picture.
This really is not a very efficient way of ending your life. But orders are orders.
Think I give a shit?
He feels no pain. A perfect machine for this endeavor.
Nice juke. Just kidding. I lied.
This is General Mansion.
No.
Faster shot managers.
Thanks. I owe you one.
Guess what? Malware doesn't work on this bitch! Oh, damn. Where is everyone anyway? Jesus. Gonna go get it? What are you gonna do with it when you get it, huh? Huh? What are you gonna do? 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 Boink! Boink! Boink!
That could not have gone better. I rule.
Dealer Dan's pretty cool, man, and I hope you like him. I hope you have some success with them. No matter what, at the end of the day, he's fun to play. What's awesome is he's also really effective now, and again, the most effective he's ever been, but he's still just really fun to play. I don't know if he's fun to deal with, but he's definitely fun to play. So I think that in itself is a valuable thing to have in the community. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, we stream every single night on twitch.tv/SwingPoynt. Link is in the description. I would love to have you guys there. And with that, thank you guys. You guys are the best, and I will see you in the next video that we do around here.